All right, this is Patrick Rogers, and today we have the extreme privilege to have Bill Canady on the show. And Bill is the CEO of OTC Industrial Technologies and Arrowhead Engineered Products. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Oh, it's great to be here, Patrick. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. And so, like I said, Bill is the current CEO of OTC Industrial Technologies and Arrowhead Engineered Products, which, by the way, does well over $2 billion annually. And that is B with billion. Billion is in B. By far the largest guest we've had on the show. So very honored to have you, Bill. So a little bit about Bill. He has over 30 years of experience as a global business executive in a variety of industries and markets focused on industrial and consumer products and services. As a leader, he concentrates on aligning with key stakeholders to set a clear and compelling vision that will rally an organization to drive growth, control cost, and increase profitability. One of the keys to his success is he develops strong leaders and management teams and establishes deep relationships. His experience encompasses global public, private, and private equity owned companies. Bill graduated summa cum laude from Elmhurst University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and received his MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And the best part of all this is he's a fellow veteran of the United States Navy. So first of all, Bill, thank you for your service. Secondly, wow, what a resume! What an accomplishment in business side of things in your life. I can't wait to dig into that. Before we do, what's one interesting fact about yourself that not many people know?
Well, probably the most interesting thing I have, and I tell everyone, so they probably know it now, is this year I had my first grandchild. My
Ah,
daughter was blessed enough to give us the first boy in the family. So little Colin Arthur is here, and he just turned 11 months. So Grandpa, and I know I look probably way too young, which would be
you
a
do.
joke
Absolutely.
to do it, but we were blessed and couldn't be more happy and proud.
Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I hope I'm a few years out from that. My kids are only 20 and 22, but you never know.
You never know.
Awesome. So tell us, Bill, two and a half billion annually between two companies. I mean, I don't even know where to start with, walk us down your journey, but oh my gosh, give us the bird's eye view on how you've been able to be so successful, Bill.
Thank you. I'm glad you said it was two companies because it was sounds like it's one, but it is two totally different companies. There's OTC Industrial Technologies out of Columbus, Ohio, and
Yeah.
Arrowhead Engineered Products out of Blaine, Minnesota. And I'm just actually truly blessed for a variety of
Mhm.
reasons, but the most important one is the team I have. Right, I could not do what I do without all the great people around me, and then our partners at Genstar are just absolutely fantastic and really do a great job in putting together these deals and things like that. So it's been a magnificent journey, and with OTC and Arrowhead, and I started out with OTC a couple years ago, and we were able to take that company from at the time it was about 700 to we'll do over $1 billion this year and that, and
Mm.
we're going approaching on a couple $100 million worth of earnings. So very blessed to have that. And Arrowhead just took that one on over the last year, and we were right around $1.5 billion. And the thing that allows us to do, as I said before, is the team. Number one. Number two is we have a very standardized process that we use to go and run these organizations, and it's all based around 80/20. When we come in, we have a 100-day journey that we go through. Those 100 days start around, where do we want to go? What's our goal? The second one is how's the strategy that's going to get us there. The third meeting will be how do we have to structure ourselves. And then the final piece of it, of course, is around what's the actions we're going to go through. We do that over a course of give or take 100 days. And what's so important about that is it gets everyone on the team aligned, right? Everybody walks out of there, whatever we come in with, when you maybe on different sections, when we are through that process, the team is aligned, the goals are clear. We understand absolutely how we're going to go get there. And we focus on the things that we can control. So we don't worry about what the market's going to do. We don't worry about where the economy is going. We'll
Right.
focus on what we can control, the levers that we can do. And that really makes all the difference for us.
So this 80/20 process, and I know we're going to talk about it at depth. You're even writing a book about it. It's been so effective for you guys. So how did you come across the Pareto principle in 80/20, and how did you start in implementing it in your business? I'd love to curious about that process for you.
Well, for me, it started about 20 years ago. I was fortunate to be working with a wonderful outfit called IDEX. IDEX is out of Chicago, North Side Chicago. We had gotten a new CEO, and we had shown that we could make money, but we weren't really growing at the time.
Mm,
One of the gentlemen on our board was the former CEO of ITW, and he had suggested, why don't you take a look at 80/20? Myself and about a dozen other folks that were within the organization were put on a team to come in and build out the operating model. That was my first exposure to it, other than, I guess we're all when we were in grade school, or we learned about Pareto and his P pods and all that sort of stuff. Well, this takes it to a whole nother level. And if you look at IDEX and ITW, which is really where the first time I'd ever saw it, they are both generated in excess of 18,000% return over these last 20 years. And it's directly relatable to it. And today we're seeing companies more and more out there use this process. And, the interesting thing about it from a high level, it's very straightforward. It's where are you making your money? You identify that, and you identify it on two dimensions. One is the products, and the second is the customers. A lot of times we'll see programs, they'll come and they'll run a scatter plot or whatever that says, well, here's what my pricing looks like on these projects, right? Or these different channels that we're going through, and they'll look for the outliers. Our process is a little bit different. We try to understand what our best customers, who they are, and what they're buying. And we look at our products and we try to understand what are our best products? Where do we really go and win at? And from there, we take our resources and we start shifting those resources from what we call our B customers and our B products. So you got your best customers buying your best products. Typically, that's tied to revenue, right? Some type of revenue, looking at some material margin or gross margin. But your great customers also buy products that you aren't particularly good at. Maybe you can't make the right margin. Maybe you don't buy them the right way, whatever the issue is. But you got to take care of them on that. So that'd be an A customer with a B product. Then you have your B customers. There's absolutely nothing wrong with B customers. They just don't buy very much from us. All right. So those B customers buy products that we really love to sell. They also buy products that we don't love to sell. And if you look at that and you lay it out in kind of a quad, right? What's going in each one, you'll find all your money, in fact, more than what's coming through your P&L, typically around 200% is all in that quad one. They make all the money for the company. Now think about what I just said. That's 200%. Well, we don't actually have 200% of profit. We only have 100% of profit. Over these other three quads, we give away the other amount of that money, and it's through our cost.
Sure.
Right?
All the margin, that's where all the margin erosion is.
All the margin erosion is going to be somewhere in there. Typically, you'll find it in the quad 4, the B products with the B customers. We identify those, and we don't go about trying to fire our customers or get rid of them or anything. We try to take the resources from that and redeploy them into the customers and the products that we're shown that we can do. So it's based on math and facts. No one can actually argue what the numbers are because the numbers are what they are. What you'll find is people will say, well, you don't really understand. We're different, right? These customers are unique.
Sure.
We need to treat them so.
Yeah.
But the fact remains that if you can take some or all of those resources and put them where you're growing, you'll actually grow faster. And think about it in our own lives, right? We want to spend the time with the things that are valuable to us. We want to put our resources to go do that. If we spread ourselves out too much, the reality is you just can't make it work, right? There's not enough to go around. So by taking those resources, refocusing, all of a sudden your best customers are getting taken care of in a more important way. The phones are answered differently. The credit limits look different. How we ship the products look differently in each one of them. The example I like to use, Patrick, is an airline. Many of us fly or have flown, right? Do you fly a lot, Patrick?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, most of us used to fly more, but today maybe not as much, right?
Right. Sure.
But what do you see when you get on, right? They have some type of ordering system that comes on. If you are a premium flyer, however that's designed, you either pay extra, you get your first class seat, or more importantly, you fly more frequently, right? You buy better tickets, you fly with them more often. You get to go on first. You get the premium seat. Well, the one who doesn't fly very much, the casual flyer, still gets to get on the plane. Maybe their discount's different. Maybe they're at the back of the plane. Maybe they had to pay for their luggage where the person who flies all the time got their luggage for free.
Right.
Well, airlines have been doing this for years for successfully. And if you fly, do you have a favorite airline, Patrick?
Typically United.
Yeah, so I have 4 million miles on United. So yeah,
Wow.
so it's United and I go way back, right? So if you fly United a lot, you got global services, right? I don't know if you've experienced that or not, but if you come off the plane and your plane is late, someone be standing there at a gate with a sign that would say, "Mr. Rogers," and you say yes, and they'll walk you right out the side door, take you right across the tarmac to put you on the next plane if you're running that late. That will make you, I would think, feel special.
Right, right, sure.
Right. And so the next time you're going to fly, you're like, well, sometimes I'm late. I need help. You're going to go back to United. It's going to pull you in more. We try to do the same thing with our customers, is make sure we treat those who fly with us all the time differently. Right. And that encourages them to come back. We still want the casual flyer, of course, from time to time, but it's more important to take care of Patrick than it is somebody who's going to fly maybe once in their life. That's the whole secret of what we do.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you're taking, I mean, the 80/20 principle, we didn't in so much explain it, but the whole concept is that 20% of revenue is coming from 80% of your clients, 20% of your problems are come from 80, right? Or 80% of your problems come from 20% of your clients, right? It's 80/20 principle. And you guys are identifying that by identifying A and B, A products, B products, A clients, B clients, and you're creating a quadrant. And then from that, you're taking the resources that not firing people, but you take those resources and put them more towards the key clients, the ones who are buying more, and making sure that their experience, the value that they get, is top shelf compared to what they're getting before, and then even more so compared to your competitors.
That's exactly right. We call that process fair, but not equal, right? What gets us in trouble so often is we treat all our clients the same. We treat, and we want to, because it makes us feel like we're good people, but our resources are limited. Our time is limited. There's only so many seats at the front of that plane. Only so many people can get on first, right? So you got to pick. And if your strategy is all things to all people, it typically does not work. No one's happy, right? You got to figure out who your most important customers are. We do it by simply taking Excel spreadsheets, loading in all our data. And as you said, 80% of our revenue, in fact, it's typically greater than 90, comes from just a handful of customers. So when we took over OTC, right, we looked at our products, and this is an amazing, the largest I've ever had on this, right? How many SKU, are you familiar with the term SKU? SKU. How many SKUs do you think we were selling? So we were doing about 700 million at the time. How many individual same type products were we selling? How many SKUs?
How many do I think there are?
How many do you think we were selling?
Oh, geez. I mean, and what type of company was it again?
A distributor of industrial products, pumps, compressors, things like that.
I mean, 2,500.
2,500. A little bit more than 8 million. A little bit more than 8 million.
Okay.
All of our revenue, greater than 94%, came from 20,000 products.
Okay.
The remaining 7,900,000, we made nothing on. Wow. We had inventory in, right? We had to service them. We had to care, feed them. We had to, put them in a building. We had to take insurance out and all that. So out of 8 million items, 20,000 paid all the bills, right?
Wow.
So over the last 2.5 years, we've taken that 8 million items. We're down to 1.6 million, which is still high, but we are slowly getting rid of those really as fast as we can. I wish we could go a little faster. And our cost positions have improved, right? We were able to take care of the ones, and we're able to actually have more in stock of the things that people want. We're able to take and get it out quicker because there's not as much confusion, right? You don't need as many systems. You don't need all those locations. You can consolidate down and focus on the critical few, right? We had 14,500 vendors. 14,000. Typical company like ours would have 2,000, right? We're down to about 4,000 now. We're slowly working our way through it because we want to place bigger bets in areas that our customers tell us they want to buy from us. And we know these customers like us because they do two things. They buy from us, right? That's really important. The second is they pay their bills. right? Because we're important to them and they're important to us.
That's right. Wow. What a feat though. 8 million down to 1.6, and you're taking it even further, but 20,000 comprised that. You said that was 90%
So where we
the
make
actual.
all our money comes out of those 20,000.
Wow. And before you purchased them, did you already have an idea that that was the case? Or you probably knew that was the case before you actually made the purchase?
Yeah, these companies are typically what we call roll-ups, right? And so if you're in the private
Okay.
equity space, and
Yeah.
I know you are, so OTC was founded by the Darrow family back in the mid 60s. And then about 25 years ago, they actually sold the business to a sponsor, and they started adding to it. And it went from being about $100 million to, at that time it was about 700 million, and it was made up of about 30 different acquisitions. So you get all the complexity that comes. Some of those items were exactly the same. As an example, we had, this is around our suppliers, we had 86 UPS accounts, and it'd be in as UPS, it'd be in as United Parcel Service,
Right.
on and on and on. And you have to go through and you have to simplify that, right? It's not something you have to do day one, but the more you can simplify, because UPS is looking at us as 86 different accounts. We're looking at UPS as 86 different accounts. And that means our buying power is almost nothing. By putting them all together, we can go and present one face to UPS and say, hey, we're way more important than you think we are. This one little account, maybe we're doing 100,000 a year. We do millions with them, right? And our service level goes up. They're happier with us. We're happier with them, right? So it's really just focusing on the critical few. It is in a world that has a dearth of it, it's a very commonsensical process, but you got to do it through the data.
Has to be a data-driven process.
Got to be
data-driven on the critical few. Yeah, I mean, the one word you just said a few sentences ago summarizes the whole concept. Is, of course, it's not that easy, but simplify. That's really what you're doing. You're simplifying this down so that you can have a business which is a lot more efficient. And focuses on great customer service by doing that.
That's right. You're able to treat it differently. The funny joke I always do when I'm talking to people and I'm out and I travel a lot and I am in front of my teams, we go in and we do these town hall meetings. I always talk about fair but not equal. And my example is, if they're married versus their sibling, right? And I'll say, okay, so Patrick, if you'll play along with me for 5 minutes, I'll do the same to you. Are you? If you don't, are you married?
Yeah. Oh
okay,
no, I'm single now. I'm not.
Well, all right, even more interesting. So, and do you have a sibling?
I do have a sibling. I have a brother.
Okay, so it's your former wife's birthday. Let's go back to when you were married. It'll make it a little easier.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So it was her birthday. What would you have typically gotten her for her birthday?
I would always like to take her somewhere. So a weekend getaway is what we really enjoy doing.
That's fantastic, right? Maybe a little dinner when you're there, something nice.
Absolutely, sure.
Good bottle of wine or favorite cocktail.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So all of that. Now it's do you have a brother or sister?
I have a brother.
Okay, it's your brother's birthday.
Okay.
What would you give him for his birthday?
Oh, a new sight for his bow and arrow.
That's actually pretty good. I try to send my sister a text. Sometimes I forget, but I do love her for sure.
Yeah.
And if she's listening, Wendy, I love you very much. So
there it is.
But think about the difference, right? It's your wife. You do a trip, gifts, a whole thing, a whole weekend, maybe
a whole shebang.
Yeah, and it's your brother, and he gets a deer sight to shoot for his. Vastly different, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But would you argue that it's fair that your wife gets more than your brother?
Would I argue that that's fair?
Yeah, is it fair? Because she's your wife.
I think so.
Absolutely, she's important. She's your A customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's your A customer.
She's very important.
Absolutely, right? But it's not equal, right?
Right.
And your brother, is he happy you get a deer sight?
He is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my sister's happy that I remember, and it's just
you just remembered it. Hey, that's
just
good.
remembered it. It was the fact of that's right. But those are fair but not equal,
right.
And that's what we have to deal with customers. We will take a customer that orders from us episodically, once every 5 years, and they order something that is not very important. The only thing they do is order this one product, and it's every 5 years, and it's unique and it's different. We don't have it in stock. We got to make it. It goes on and on and on. We'll jump through every hoop to do that. With customer who buys one thing from us that is typically trivial, we'll make our most important customer wait because we're doing this, and we'll send it out to them. And we gave them everything they want. And you know what? It is the B customers that don't pay us when we don't get paid, because it doesn't matter as much because they only buy one thing from us. Our A customers almost always pay us because they get a lot from us. And if you start treating your A customers like your B customers, you put them at the back of the line, they actually have options. They will divorce you and go away. If you treat your B customers like your A, they're still your brother. They're never going to take the role of your best customer, because most likely there's someone else's A customer already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fair but not equal, outside of your organizations, people get it intuitively. They would not expect a $5,000 customer to be treated like a $5 million customer. Inside of your organization is where you will get all the resistance, particularly from the sales force, because they're like, wait a minute, I live off of this business and you're going to make me lose an account, or I may not have to go resell it at a minimum. So the work on changing how you think about how you treat customers is more internally than externally. Your wife expects to be treated a certain way. Your brother expects to be treated a certain way, given the relationship. It's the same way with our customers. It's our internal resistance that you have to deal with. It takes a lot of training, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of make a mistake, we'll try it again.
Yeah, fair not equal. I love it. What a profound concept. And it just makes sense when you back up and you look at it from a 30,000-foot view. It just makes so much sense. And yet companies, CEOs I've consulted in the past to get that thought process through sometimes is very difficult and much less implemented.
One of the organizations we were looking at, we ran the numbers. The group was about $150 million. They had 65 outside salesmen and wanted to go and double it to 120. And the customer base is about 20,000. And they had them all assigned to it. And I said, do you think for 1 second, one person can cover 1,000 customers, 2,000 customers, right? For sure you can't, right? Outside salesman goes, they show up and all that. Maybe you do 2 or 3 a day. It just depends, right?
Right.
We ran the numbers. They had 115 accounts that paid for everything out of those 20,000. 115 accounts. I said, you have too many salesmen, right? You actually need half of what you have. So each one gets, a handful, and the rest of them need to be taken care of differently. Inside sales, online ordering, right? Like Amazon. You don't call someone at Amazon if you want to buy your next bottle of shampoo or whatever. You just go online and click.
Yeah.
So people are trained to go do it. Now you got to have the systems to do it. But for sure, can you imagine how many salesmen it would take for Amazon to come and do it? They don't have it at all, but they do have a section where if you're a big customer, Amazon has salespeople out there calling on big customers every day of the week. They're not calling on me, probably not calling on you, but I would think they would, because the amount of boxes I get outside my house is shocking.
You're a VIP.
I don't I qualify for nothing. So, but that's what it is, right? You get into the numbers and you go, well, geez. And so now instead of needing 120 salesmen out of the 60, what we really need is about 40. And we could see those customers every day. It was almost like one-to-one service by the time you're done. You can take those other ones that you don't need and you can deploy them doing something else. Right. What would that be? You'd have to decide based on where you're making your money. You could, because there's a spot somewhere in there that probably has not been taken care of as well. Go fix that.
Got it. Wow. Such great information. Bill, this is just, I love it. A lot of times, most of our guests will talk about, the internal processes, EOS or things like that. This is just so profound because it makes so much sense and it's so high level. And to be in your position, hearing this at a $2.5 billion annual company, that this is the key to success, that is very enlightening. It's so refreshing.
EOS is a great process.
Absolutely.
Gino Wickman wrote that book. I was privileged to have lunch with him a few years ago. It is
Nice.
fantastic to take a small organization and really get yourself
Absolutely.
aligned, right? It's all about
Yeah.
alignment.
Yeah.
And then what the process we use, which I call myself, I call it the profitable growth operating system. I just had to have a name of something, but it's
Nice.
really 80/20.
Yeah.
The process that we use is once that team is aligned, once someone like Gino, you've embraced it, what are they going to focus on? And
Mm,
every company goes through this life cycle. So when you're small, you're an entrepreneur. You'll take any business. You're just trying to get your game going. You got
right.
bills to pay. And then one day you wake up and you have so much you cannot handle it on. If you're out prospecting, you're not closing. If you're closing, you're not prospecting. You start, how am I going to do all this stuff? Right. So Gino's model does a great job of getting yourself organized. What I focus on and what my companies focus on is in what you're focused on, where is the profit? What are the profit pools are available? And how do
Mm,
you organize yourself around it?
I love it. And then you're actually in the process. Well, you've already written the book, but the book where you outline this process that you're talking about in so much more detail, it's due to come out pretty soon, right?
That's right. Thank you for mentioning it. It's called the 80/20 CEO. Take command of your business in 100 days. It is in the final being put together. The graphs are being put in it. It should be available for pre-order. It was supposed to have been available a week or two ago, but sometime this month, December, and it's supposed to ship at the end of February. So if any history tells me, it'll probably ship in March. But that's the first one that comes out. That book is really targeted at the leadership of a company, explaining the process of how you go through, how you take command of the business in 100 days, and then the actions that you take that come after that to run it. So, I'm in private equity. Our goal typically, our nirvana is to get at least 3x what we call MOIC, or multiple on invested cash, right? So we're always looking at that. 4 is better, 10 would be wonderful, right? So we want to take and do that as quickly as possible. This book is designed to get that team aligned and talk about the tools that will come. And then right after that, we have a couple more coming out. One is the deep dive on how to do 80/20 and the strategy and some of the stuff around the folks, right? So it's exciting and fun, and I hope everyone out there will enjoy that. I have a website. It's my name, billcanady.com. You can go on there and learn more about it.
Perfect. And if you could spell it, so it's Bill Canady, BillCanady.com. Is
Perfect. You
that
did it
correct?
way better than I
Perfect.
can, Patrick. So
Yeah, great.
that's
Just want
exactly
to make
right.
sure some people don't, are just listening. So I want to make sure they have it as well. Um, well, great, Bill. What I'd love to do is just take a few minutes and summarize some of my takeaways from today. One is this standardizing your process over and above what you talked about, like we talked about with EOS, is then what do we focus on as a team to take the company to the next level? And this 80/20 100-day journey, first thing you do is you're starting out with where we are, where we want to go, and then developing that strategy, breaking it down to processes and accountability with actions. And you're really focusing on the things that you can control. You're not looking at the economy, you're focusing on what we can control as a team. And then breaking down into that 80/20 a little bit further is, where are you making your money? And this whole concept of fair but not equal. And you really focus on two things. You focus on giving your products a grade, A, B, maybe C, and clients A and B, and then you quadrilize it. And from here, you start to shift those resources to your best clients, the ones who are paying the most, the paying on time, the best clients buying the best products. And from that, you said you're not firing the B clients, but you're just taking resources away and shifting it towards the A, making the customer experience for the A phenomenal, giving them phenomenal value. And that is the whole concept behind this 80/20 process, which it's stupid simple. It's amazing.
Maybe that'll be
I'm
the
sure.
title of my next book, Stupid Simple.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so, Bill, if there was one takeaway that you'd really want the audience to absorb from our time together today, what would that be?
Well, really a couple things. One is focus on what you can control. Don't worry about what the economy is going to do. Don't worry about if interest rates are going to go up, because for sure it's going to change whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do is dig into the facts, get your team together and get everybody aligned around what you can do, and that's take care of your folks, right? Give exceptional opportunities to your team, be a good partner with your suppliers and your vendors and your customers, and finally, give an exceptional return to your stakeholders, right? You do those three things, you're going to have a winning hand.
No, I love it. And one of the things I really love about this concept of the 80/20 CEO in the book you're writing is, you know, likely many entrepreneurs listening to this have read the book 80/20 Principle, and they get it, right? It's a Pareto principle. However, you've taken this principle, which is just an inherent law. I mean, it's a law in pretty much everything, and you've applied it to something very specific. You've taken it and you kind of built a process, a rule, an SOP for a CEO to follow to be able to turn their company around and maybe not turn around, but just make it drive phenomenal success. And I think that's what's important. That's the difference between just understanding what the 80/20 principle is by reading the book and this. This sounds like this is a blueprint. And I'm going to be one of your first pre-order sales when it's available, man.
That's fantastic. That's very well said. Thank you so much for your time. This has been a delight.
Yes. Yes. And Bill, if any of our listeners want to reach out and get a hold of you for any follow-up questions, what's the best way that they do that?
Two ways. So one, you can send me an email. So it's bill@billcanady.com, BILLCANADY.com. Or you can just simply go to my website, same ending, and all the information is on there. I respond to every one of them I get. I really enjoy interacting with folks. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm here for you.
Fantastic. Well, Bill, thank you again so much for being on the show. This was a complete honor.
Thank you, Patrick. Have a great day. And again, thank you for your service.
Absolutely. And for the subscribers and listeners, please hit the like and subscribe button and help us spread the word about what we're doing. We're helping the next generation of CEOs and leaders be that much more successful. With that, this is your host, Patrick Rogers, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot.